Well, I think I didn't do that very well. I missed the mark. Hello, everybody. There's always something with me. Sometimes it's too damn early and I still haven't finished, my first cup of coffee. So hi, everybody, and welcome to my channel, OG Star Wars, and, our morning coffee chats. And I am going to have another guest here, and he'll be arriving here soon, maybe within 15, 20 minutes. And it looks like I have Matt G in. So let's wait. So, of course, we can't begin the show without asking what's in your mug. I have my caf going on 9 a.m. where I'm at. So if you want to go ahead and share what you are sipping on. Good morning, Stig. How are you?
Hello there.
So what's your choice of beverage as we begin this live stream?
That is none of your business, madam.
With the side of sassy.
Yeah, no, I have a Coca-Cola thing.
See, my cup says, insert eye roll here.
So you have eyeballs in the cup?
Yes, I do. They're rolling around. Yes, they're rolling around here.
Indiana Jones 2 style.
Yeah. There we go. We almost watched that last night. It was on, one of them was on TV. I forget which one, Indiana Jones and stuff. So we almost watched that last night, but
that one has a Star Wars reference.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is?
What was it? Was it the one? Go ahead and tell me, because I don't think I'm guessing right.
The building where the story starts is the Obi-Wan Cafe or something.
Oh, okay. Now I'm gonna have to look into that. Right.
Or no, Club Obi-Wan. That's what it's called.
That's right. Okay, Club Obi-Wan. Yes. Okay. How are you doing, Annihilus? Good morning. What's in your mug? Answer: my preferred beverage is condensed screams of the Paragus maintenance officer. Okay, so can you elaborate more on that? What's going on? Sometimes it's too early for me. Like I said, it's 9 a.m. here. I've been sleeping in some, longer lately than normal. So, this is kind of like I'm still kind of groggy because I'm not used to waking up early anymore. This is what happens when this friggin' shelter in place happens. Your schedule gets screwy.
Is that an EU bookshelf I see behind you?
Yes. Here?
Yeah.
I was it Tuesday? Yeah, all day Tuesday. In fact, I'm not done with my studio yet, but I've been going through, making, getting rid of things I'm not using anymore in my studio that's not serving. I'm ordering a bookshelf, but that's my makeshift one right now. So yeah, because it was all compiled in one corner, not everything, and then some books were scattered around the house. So I was like, I need to do something that is more handy and more constructive and more, organized, I guess you could say. And so I did this, and then one little corner of it is my it's called Whispering Winds magazines and other Native people magazines, and there's a lot of Native cultural crafts, like how to make certain different types of moccasins. It just has all kinds of useful information, because I do teach now and then. I do teach art classes, like how to bead and what's the history with the beadwork with our people. What are these designs mean in each region? So there's a little bit about me. I teach Native American artwork and stuff like that. So yeah, so there you go.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. You're like, that sounds interesting, Laura, but I just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Annihilus, it's from Couture to Laugh Aloud. Okay. See, I haven't, I was talking with Stig. I have him, and now I'll have Drew coming on here, and we'll talk Old Republic, which will, include the games and stuff, of course, because that's what opened up that era of Star Wars. And because I'm not well versed in the games, I have couple people that will be, so that's why I missed the point. That's why I missed the mark on that, so I apologize. That's my weakness. The gameplay, the game portion of Star Wars, is my weakness. There's my weakness. You guys now know that. My leg, they're burning through my leg.
Yeah, that's from KOTOR 2. Find a basically surveillance tapes and stuff.
Yeah.
People have been killed, and you're trying to piece together information so you can trick a droid.
Yeah.
Basically, recording people's voices and stuff, and then
Yeah. Nice. And I
a lot
do
of
have
fun.
Couture on my laptop here. I haven't even begun to play it. I need to.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah, I opened it. I do need to get a mouse because the mouse pad on my laptop does not work worth darn for it. So I need to get a mouse for it, and I haven't even done that yet. But once I do, I will be getting a hold of you guys who are well versed in the game, so I know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, it's using the some of the. It's basically D&D rules, and
yeah,
so I can certainly help you with that. I used to write D&D shit, so
okay. So Lord Vader has an important question. What's better, Couture 1 or 2?
Well, Arisaka in the chat says KOTOR 1 is a cleaner story, but KOTOR 2 has better antagonists.
Okay.
Yes. KOTOR 2 though, if you decide to play that one, you need to get the restored content mod because the game was released unfinished. Because Lucasfilm wanted it to be out before Christmas and the game wasn't done. The restored content mod is the developers restored the cut content so you can add it to the game so you get the full experience. It even adds a planet they didn't include in the main game.
Yeah.
So now the story makes sense.
Okay. So, this is probably a great tip. Be sure to look into the widescreen pitch for KOTOR 1 if you need it. Okay. Like I said, I do have it. I haven't begun it.
I'd say KOTOR 1 is like a New Hope in a way.
Okay.
KOTOR 2 is like Empire Strikes Back, but with an ending.
With an ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Empire Strikes Back is basically an open ending kind of compared to that.
Yeah, there's well, at the end of the second one, you can tell that they had planned more.
Yeah.
But didn't happen, and then they decided, yeah, let's make an MMO that takes place like 1,000 years later or something, whatever it was. Not the same.
Yeah.
That's not the conclusion to the story.
Yeah. Okay. So I love Korea. Yes, I think a lot of people like her. I have mixed feelings, but I do like her. I do have mixed feelings about her. Yeah, so maybe, I don't know. I asked my guests to pick 3 people to talk about as well, that their favorite characters. So you guys get to hear about that as well, and I'll add mine in as well. So, and then you guys share when we get to that topic, you guys in the chat can go ahead and share as well. So let's see. But I do have something that's kind of fun to talk about. Maybe it'll make you guys giggle. Maybe make you guys appreciate maybe the 2 novels that this will come from. That it's about C-3PO and how he interprets the Sith language, in the new lore versus the old. And me and Stig were talking just before we came on, and he's like, the words that you say the most in 2000 or 2020, and what was it like? Compare and contrast, right, is one of them.
Yeah, and in the original lore.
Yeah, in the original lore. Yeah, so he's like, those are like, and what'd you compare me to? I'll let you tell them.
Well, I noticed it a while ago, and it reminds me of that what is it, Alison Hannigan in American Pie. She always goes, "This one time at band camp," right?
Yes.
Like this one time in the original lore, Wedge shagged the bird lady.
Oh goodness, let's see here. Wait, what was that? KOTOR 2. I have you guys ever watched the video called Korea's Philosophy? I have a while back, so yeah, maybe I'll pull it up and we can watch it here.
Yeah, I watched that one, and right after, like an hour after watching it, I lost control of myself and I killed a prostitute because of the dark side in that video. It just brainwashed me with Kreia stuff.
Okay. Oh Lord. Okay. And is it good and is good in its own right. Yeah. Let's see here. All right. So let's go ahead and get this little portion of this live stream out of the way. Again, like I said, it'll probably make you appreciate C3PO better in the original lore than in the new lore. So I'm gonna go ahead and share screen here. Let's see here. And there you go. So this is from Screen Rant. We know the BS behind Screen Rant most of the time. So this is why I'm just like giggling at this. But I'm also using it as, like Stig says, I use this word all the damn time. And it's one of the pretenses of my channel. One of the platforms my channel is about is compare and contrast. So that's why I use that a lot. So we're going to compare and contrast this article to the original C3PO in Legends or the original lore. So we're gonna try to get
See, I told you you use those words a lot.
Yeah, I just got done explaining that too, mister. Pay attention. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I do, because that's what my channel is about. And I like saying original lore better than Legends because it is the original lore, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it's so you have the original lore and then you have the new lore. I'd rather say original than old lore because it's not old.
You even have lore in your name.
Lore? Allura. Oh, yeah. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? All right, and I am the Legends gal, right? There we go. So there you guys go.
Please continue.
Yes. All right. Star Wars 10 best C3PO moments so far. Oh, this is 10 best. So I pulled up the wrong friggin' article. Damn it. All right. So the article that we'll just, shit. There we go. Let me look it up real quick. So you guys are going to watch me search. Okay. Screen or Star Wars C3PO. This is what happens when you don't really proofread your article before you pull it up. Okay. Or review it before, or when you pull it up. C3PO, Sith. Let me see if that pulls anything up. Nope.
Yeah, you'll review it when you pull it up.
Oh goodness. Okay. It was an article that was just out this week, so I don't know why I'm having a hard time finding it. Maybe they're like, this is full of shit and we'll take it down. C3PO, Sith translator.
That guy says, and Zakerot has popped into the chat as well.
Yeah.
Hope you're both having a great day.
Nice. Oh yeah, thank you, Stig. All right.
See, I'm professional.
Yes, you are. All right. So I'm not going to pull up the article, but what I'll do is the article basically says that, we know that C3PO had to have his mind wiped and reprogrammed in the new lore in Rise of Skywalker to translate the Sith language. Okay. So we know that that's established in the new lore is that they basically had to reprogram him. And it was kind of like people coined it part of like his death. And then I guess they brought him back. He eventually was brought back to normal, I guess you could say. I'm not too privy on that part because, I just didn't get into it. And so with that, in the original lore, we have the true set back aura. So I don't know how many of you guys in the chat has read this.
How does it make sense, though, that he can speak a Sith language? Because he was made by Anakin, like 40 years earlier, right? Or something.
Yeah.
And that language had been missing for thousands of years. And how the hell did Anakin get that programming installed in him?
He was found, and I'm not saying that it was included in with his programming, but we know that Anakin found him, basically as scraps, and he put him together.
Also, since they'd only had hyperspace for 200 years in the new Star Wars, that's a problem.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is. And so what I'm getting at here is so he got reprogrammed by, Babu Frick or whatever his name is, whatever the frickin' name his name is. Sorry, I had to. Um, and to translate the Sith language so they understand, what is being said on, was it the Wayfinder or that dagger thing, whatever.
Yeah. Ever noticed that only Ray needed the dagger to find Exegol?
Mm-hmm.
But if someone traveled the other way, like Ray's dad,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't need the Wayfinders.
Okay. Yeah, I know, and that's a big thing too. So it's like they need all these MacGuffins to get where they're at, but then when
Yeah.
the story doesn't need them to use it, bam, everybody can get where they need to be.
Yeah,
So
even Kylo.
yeah, exactly. And so, not to get off track, you did have some great points there, and it's something that we'll probably always debate on that. That was huge bad writing on their part. We have Trusa Bakura, and they're trying to translate the language of the CC Rook because that's something that's relatively new to them. And so what happens is that R2D2 records the message and plays it back, and then and C3PO for C3PO, and eventually they get together, they leave, they get together, C3PO and R2D2, and translate that language, and which is added to C3PO's database, because he has over 6 million languages in his in his system. He's able to find a common language close to what they're trying to translate to come up with the translation. And so I thought that was very interesting in the original lore, is that R2D2 and C3PO worked together to translate that language for Leia and Luke and them in the Truce of Bakura, versus what we see going on with this ancient Sith language. And yeah, you had a great point, Stig, that it's something that's kind of extinct, rare. That why would C3PO have it in his data system for the 6 million language database that he has as an interpreter droid?
Yeah, it's not like you can buy it as an upgrade to
Yeah,
his
it's not like
language.
the Sith were saying, "Hey, we're gonna say in hiding and stuff, but here's our language just in case if we pop in, you can understand what we're
Yeah.
saying."
Oh yeah, and it's perfectly compatible with this droid computer that is
Mhm.
5,000 years newer. You know,
Yeah. And so my point I'm getting across is that, C3PO went through his database and found something that's very similar to the language that they're trying to interpret, and use that to help him, interpret the language. And so we're going to go all the way into like 40 or 30 years, from the Truce at Bakura, 40 years from the Truce at Bakura into Legacy or Fate of the Jedi era. And so we have the same situation. And so they have Vistara Kai, and they allow her father, Saber Kai, to go in and visit her. And Luke allows them to go in a private into her quarters that they give her to talk in private, but Luke is recording them, and so they're talking in Kashiri language, which is their language, which I'm getting, and people in the chat correct me if I'm wrong, is like another version of the Sith language, because we learn in the lore that lost tribe of the Sith were basically stranded on that planet and evolved as Sith as we know them in Fate of the Jedi. And so Luke gets that translation, and he sends it to Leia and C3PO to decode it so that they know what was being said. And so again, C3PO uses what he has in his database. We don't know exactly how, because it doesn't get too much into it, but he ends up decoding and translating the Kashiri language, the Kashiri Sith language. So I thought that was very interesting. Hello, look at that. You're gorgeous.
No, I'm using one of my crazy avatars. How you doing, Alora?
Good. Thank you for joining. That almost looks like me.
I'm
That's kind of odd.
I'm actually driving home from physical therapy. So
Oh, be careful. All right. So just chime in when you can. I'd rather you drive safe. So we're just talking about comparing C-3PO's translation in Rise of Skywalker of the Sith language versus the original lore. So that's
Hello, Drummond.
hey, how are you, Steve?
I'm quite well.
Good, good, good.
I hope physical therapy went well.
It did, but we're still kind of trying to figure out the mystery of why my pain is at the level it is when it should be better than what it is. So, well, one thing at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you drive safe and just listen in and stuff. But that's the most important thing is you being safe. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm like literally 2 minutes from home, so we're good.
Okay, good. All right. So that guy says Mas Kanata would answer Steve's question with a good question, one to be answered at another time.
Yeah.
So Steve, what do you think about this thing about like how the original lore handled C-3PO translating those two languages versus how Rise of Skywalker did? You could weigh out that, and you could even I don't care if you're in favor of what happened in Rise of Skywalker. So give us
Well, the Rise of Skywalker is obviously a big mess, and from what I've seen, the movie JJ wanted to make is not the movie we saw.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm trying to not think of the Rise of Skywalker as much anymore. The EU did it better because they planned it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's really all there is. They planned a story.
Mm-hmm.
Disney Lucasfilm did not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, even with the rumors of so many version or cuts of the Rise of Skywalker, it's like they didn't know which direction they wanted to go, really.
Well, the problem is that movie was poorly edited. That was it. I mean, it was edited in such a way that it absolutely screwed it all to hell.
Yeah.
Lord Vader wants me to name 20 Disney Star Wars planets. I can't because I don't think there are 20.
No, I don't think so either.
Exactly.
Okay, so Lord Vader right here, I have it right here on the screen. In the Rise of Skywalker, it says that the Senate banned the Sith language. And see, like I said, those who watch it can let weigh in a little bit more on that. So if you ban the Sith language, then that means that the Sith language should be inside C-3PO's database on languages, right? Because that means they're aware of the language, correct?
Well, how could they know the language if, according to Episode 1, the Sith have been extinct for millennia?
Mm-hmm.
And they were mostly in hiding before that, so...
Well, here...
Where the hell did they learn it?
If the Jedi were keeping accurate archives, okay, then you go back to... And this ties into me talking about the Old Republic. It is like, okay, you had chroniclers of the Jedi Order in the Old Republic, because it's clearly laid out in a KOTOR game that there's a chronicler of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. So that means they have, everything from Jedi holocrons to Sith artifacts to, Sith tomes, whatever, Jedi tomes, whatever, on so on and so forth. They have a ton of different, artifacts.
It absolutely works with the old lore, but with the new one, they've now decided that they've only had hyperspace travel possibilities for 200 years.
Yeah, and that's absolutely stupid. I mean, the logical thing would have been that the answer to all of this would lie in the Jedi archives. And for that, all you have to do is locate the Jedi, a Jedi archive somewhere. Yeah. And it wouldn't even have had to involve C-3PO.
You know what would have solved it? They could have had that language thing in the book Rey stole from Luke. That would have solved everything.
Yeah, Boom, right there. There you go.
But
Exactly.
they didn't think about that. That's the thing. They didn't think about that.
10 seconds of thinking, and I saw the plot hole.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. You know, it was, I mean, it was so poorly thrown together, and the way that the movie was edited, the way that, you know, it was in the final conception of it.
Yeah.
You know, had they taken a little more time and care with it, I mean, like I said, these things would have been laid out beautifully in Star Wars fashion, where people would have been like, okay, I can, you know, process that with logic.
Yeah.
And JJ should know better. I mean, for God's sakes, the Force Awakens was decent, not great, but it was still decent. He did that one better than Troz.
Well, to be fair, he only copied the New Hope. Though.
That's why he did it so better, because it was.
Yeah, I know, but it was still all right.
Basically, he did A New Hope worse.
Yeah,
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the thing is with the Sith language and with his artifacts and all that, that, you know, like when Drew goes back, oh, well, they should have all these artifacts. When you look into the original lore, and again, Stig, you need to like have a tally of how many times they say compare and contrast in original lore on a coffee stream. And we can report that. But is that in the original lore, we have Palpatine who and Vader, who goes in and destroys a lot of artifacts, or either destroys them or hoards them. And so Luke is having a hard time, you know, finding, you know, Jedi artifacts because of what, you know, Palpatine and Vader did with them, you know. And we also know that, you know, on Dathomir, that Yoda left a ship there for Luke to find, you know, from per his vision about what, you know, about the future that he had. And so we know a little bit about that. But in reality, a lot of Jedi archives and artifacts were destroyed or are kept away from the greater public.
Right.
So we have in this new lore, we don't have very much things fleshed out. And I'm not saying this is an excuse for their bad writing, but I don't think when you don't have a plan, then I mean, everything becomes screwy. The lore, the world building behind it comes screwy, and then you have to go back and explain instead of expand. So, yeah. So that's my 2 cents with that. But so with C-3PO, like I said, you know, it was, you know, in the original lore, he, you know, basically worked within his database and his knowledge in his database to translate these languages. Then, you know, I would imagine that he stored them in his database language, you know, because, you know, he was, you know, I do know 6 million, you know, languages kind of spiel that he does, versus having to be reprogrammed or his mind wiped so he can translate something that, you know, basically the Senate says that they banned the language, which means it's common, it's known. So that also means that he should have had it in his database per their new lore.
Yeah. I mean, the language is a friggin' language. It's not going to taint anything with the dark side. It's a fucking language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you go into like the original Sith actual species, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But we don't even know if they're going to be existing in the new lore.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have Sith as a species in the new lore at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just going to be
if you're talking like old Republic Sith, like Sith pureblood type of Sith, then yeah, I don't know that they'll have that either. But
your StreamYard's profile picture is disturbing, Drew.
Well, it's what I had on the fly, man. Sorry. I just put in one of my face app pictures. It's my, do you want to study? Little nerdy girl.
Hey, Lord Vader, does the since the old trilogy and the prequel trilogy is canon with Disney, does the planets in that one count?
Yeah, he's like last coffee chat. He's been wanting people to what this jumped on me. Want people to answer that as well. So, you're right,
Yeah,
Luke Skywalker. It has no logic. It just goes. It just moves forward. That's it. So like it stumbles, it trips. So.
No, they really need some lore fixing in in the future stuff that they put out. There has to be some lore fixing.
Yeah, like Lord Vader. Wait, how did Kylo know about the Sith Reminders if they were only in the books Rey had? See, and that's one thing that is missing. Is like, did Palpatine tell him? Was that even a thing in the movie?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Could have been because he speaks to Palpatine at the beginning.
Yeah.
Lord Vader is evil.
Yeah. And the thing is that, okay, so since Kylo was this like, fanboy of Vader, you think that everything that Vader would have, and even Vader's, castle on Mustafar, he would have already went in and, got every single artifact and stuff like that. You would think. So I'm throwing that out there. So.
That's a great point.
There's a heck of a lot of background noise coming from you, Drew.
Yeah,
I know. I'm switching. I'm gonna jump out and switch to my computer because I'm home. So
okay.
I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. Making sense of Disney or Star Wars makes my brain hurt. I'm sorry, I'm punishing you guys. I'm punishing you.
Alora, do you have a pencil?
I have a pen.
I'm gonna try and do that challenge Lord Vader did for me. So you just make a line as per planet. See if I can get 20.
Okay.
I'm taking your challenge, Lord.
All right, let's do this. Okay.
Okay. Tatooine.
Okay.
Hoth. Sullust. Malastare. Coruscant. Dantooine. Yavin 4. Endor. Mustafar. Geonosis. Camino. Dathomir. How many is that now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Let's see what else. Crate? Is that one?
Yeah.
Jakku. Lothal. Exegol.
That sounds like a damn gas station. I'm sorry. It's like.
Oh, thank you for that, Bespin. Shit. How many did I left?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You got 3 more to go.
Well, shit. Scarif. Felucia. And Alderaan. That's 20, isn't it?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, and Mon Calamari. So 11. No, sorry, 21.
All right. So let's see. Okay. So we're gonna see how.
Ryloth. And Corellia.
Okay. So Tat is an original. Hoth is an original. Sullust is original. Malastare, right?
Yeah, it's mentioned in episode 1.
Coruscant, Dantooine, Yavin 4, Endor, Mustafar, Geonosis, Camino. Dathomir wasn't. It was introduced.
It's canon now though because they have it on Rebels and Clone Wars.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. All right, and Bespin. Felucia, right? Because that was in the they were on Felucia and PT, right?
Yeah.
66.
Yeah. Ayla
Oh,
Zakerot.
and you forgot Kashyyyk.
Oh yeah, I know.
Kashyyyk.
Alderaan, Mon Calamari wasn't really introduced in the movies until now. It was in the original lore, though.
Yeah, and it's in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, Corellia.
Korriban.
And no, it's Morriban now.
No, it's back to Korriban.
Really?
I wrote an article about that. Actually, tail end of last year, they changed the lore back to where it's Korriban.
So
that's interesting.
now they're contradicting the Clone Wars, which is their canon.
Exactly. But hey, so basically 16 of them are pre-Disney. Pre-Disney. So if you want to really go in and name planets that are Disney lore, you're not going to make 20.
Oh, I know another one, Octu,
Oh yeah.
where hobos die of impulsive overdoses.
Yeah.
Oh, and Canto Bite.
That's right. The casino.
Oh God. The worst planet ever.
Yeah, and so still you're not going to reach 20 without using the original lore.
Yeah.
Planets.
Oh, did you see the galaxy map for Disney Star Wars?
I looked at it a couple of times. Let's pull it up.
It has nothing compared to what the old one was.
Uh-huh.
Oh, all of us forgot about Naboo.
No, yeah, Naboo.
Yeah, Naboo is another.
And Cato Nemoidia.
Yeah.
Felucia.
Yeah, we had that one. Let's see here. Is this what I'm looking for? Yeah. So, you're supposed to show me the whole thing.
Someone said Nar Shaddaa. Nar Shaddaa is not a planet.
Nar Shaddaa is a moon.
Yeah, the moon of Malhada.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dantooine.
Yeah, I did that one.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see. There we go. So we're gonna look at that real quick before we move on to the Old Republic into something fun to talk about.
Well,
Annihilus, we mentioned that.
I took your challenge, Lord Vader, and I completed it.
Ooh, Tommy coming up with one. Malachor 5. Nice.
I don't think that's Disney canon, is it?
This right here?
Malachor was because Traz mentioned Malachor.
Some of the things that were introduced that was in the original lore, like the EU from the original EU, I really that Disney Lucasfilm introduced, whether in one of their projects, we'll just call them that. It's not theirs still. So we're talking about original that they made up themselves.
I have another one, Kessel.
There we go. Kessel. Kessel basically is wasn't necessarily a planet in the original lore.
Yeah. Oh, and Dagobah.
There you go.
We forgot Utapau.
Yeah, Utapau, Dagobah. But a lot of these that we're talking about that we're saying, we forgot this and this. This is from the original movies. This isn't they weren't Disney made.
Yeah, and if you look at the galaxy map.
Yeah, this is Disney galaxy map right here.
Yeah, and if you take the Rise of Skywalker when they're doing hyperspace teleportation jumps at the beginning, even the TIE fighters can do that, and it's not instantaneous. It shortens the trip from years to hours. That's basically what it does. So all of these jumps, which are actually fairly long ones, that whole sequence at the beginning should have taken 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, look at the hyperspace lanes in this map. They go around. There's not from Coruscant to Corellia. Basically, there's no straight line. Well, there was never necessarily a straight line, but look, it goes all the way around. So, does it make sense for them to jump into hyperspace and get somewhere really quick when they're going around the galaxy?
Do they have Renbar on this map? Renbar is not on here.
And it's weird because they're going around. that's not how the universe works.
No.
Because you can go in any direction, right? It's three.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really goofy. I don't like this map.
Okay, so we'll pull up original lore map. Let's see.
Yeah.
That one is awesome.
This map is pretty shit, to be honest. I don't like this one.
It
Because
makes no sense.
everything, if you look at it, just looking at the map in general, like everything is like centered on the right side. There's nothing over on the left, and there was definitely more to the unknown regions before.
So
that guy in the chat says Starkiller Base has destroyed more planets than Disney Star Wars has created.
Exactly.
This is true because
Mhm.
that one destroyed the whole system.
Well, they wanted JJ's thing is that he wants to do everything bigger and better. So that was his target, no pun intended, or maybe that is a pun, but intended pun. But look at this. So here's the original galaxy. We have the deep core, we have the core, we have all these hyperspace lanes that basically doesn't circle around the galaxy. So we have these hyperspace lanes established here, going from planet to planet, and even like in every direction, not just circular.
Oh, and they have Bespin and Hoth, but they don't have the Anoet system, which they had to travel through to get to Bespin.
Yeah, this is a really herky jerky map, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's no hyperspace lanes to Utapau. They had that in episode 3.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan hyperspace straight to Utapau.
Yeah. All right, so I'll pull up the galaxy map that we know and love. And you'll see. So everybody take notes. Take notes on this.
Yeah, you're about to see the good map, y'all.
Oh, that's the wrong one. What the hell? Okay, let's get out of that one. That's not it.
Get your shit together, lady.
Yeah.
I just clicked the wrong tab.
That's how people die.
Blonde moment.
A blonde moment? Why isn't it showing up? Oh, here we go. Star Wars Galaxy map. Okay. So here we go.
All right, see.
Known region right here. We have all the established hyperspace lanes that basically don't just go into a circle. They go in every direction that and you could tell that everything was well mapped out in this lore, in the original lore. We know that, there's 25 centuries or 25,000 years of history going on here, including the hyperspace wars and stuff, which, was the precursor of getting everything mapped out as well.
This is what it looks like when someone who knows what they're doing gets to do it.
Yeah.
Because this looks awesome. It looks well thought out. It looks like an actual map.
Yeah, it does.
So we have like the deep core. We have Biss here, where the stronghold of, the clone Palpatine was at, where he held his throne, his world during Dark Empire, which the Rise of Skywalker basically copied. And
and that's also the planet of origin for the race, weird, like almost cyclop looking creatures called the Abyssin. Come from that planet as well, and that is something that you encounter in Star Wars: The Old Republic in the MMO.
Yeah. So we have the deep core, we have the core, we have the colonies, and so this all tells you every single part or region of the galaxy, the inner rim, the expansion region, the mid rim, and then we have the outer, and then wild space on one side and unknown regions on the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then so we have Rakata Prime, on the edge of the outer or unknown regions.
Yep.
We have Crysella, where the Chiss comes from. Ilum, where, one of the planets where they got the lightsaber crystals.
Yep. And that's also a key planet in Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Mm-hmm. So well planned, well mapped, and it even goes with the Star Wars, the movie lore on like what Steve was saying about how getting to Bespin and crossing your regions.
Yeah, and see down there we could see Ryloth I mean, yeah, there's just so many, good things. Ratatak over there on the left, that's another
That,
big one.
yeah, that's where Ventress was from.
Yeah, and that's also
Only didn't bother to read up on that.
yeah, and that's also where one of your companions, depending what class you play in Star Wars: The Old Republic, comes from as well. And you can also play as a Ratataki yourself. So,
Annihilus is asking, what's the name of the planet in Jedi Academy where he ran from the mutant Rancor? I think that one was Tanab. Tanab Spaceport.
Okay. And let's look at all that, I was scrolling through there, but look at all the planets established. Now, mind you, this is 40 years of world building, which is magnificent, right?
Well, yeah, it is.
So
this is made with a lot of heart. The shit Disney's made is made in the lab.
Yeah, and this is like what I'm saying. This has a lot of care and planning to it, and you can see the clear differences because you have a whole lot more available, like in the unknown regions and places like that, and this is the huge difference because it's just a much better flow to it, and it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Vajun is the one. There's a castle on Vajun, but I think that's the one that had the acid rain.
Yeah, and see, we have Rishi, the pirate place.
Yeah.
Yarr.
Okay, so you two, I have a question for you. So if you were to pick a planet that you would want to be a part of or from, not a part of, but from in the Star Wars lore, what planet? So this is going to take some great thought.
Which one was Kenobi from?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I would say I would probably use the place where my stronghold is on SWTOR, my favorite stronghold. See, and that would be Yavin 4.
Yeah.
But
no, I'd
okay,
pick them.
Stu John. Stu John, so that his home world is Stu John.
I think I'd go with Naboo. I mean, it looks gorgeous there.
Yeah, I mean that's a good pick, Stig. Yeah, I mean,
nice and peaceful, and they probably have a lot of libraries, and all they do on Naboo is shag anyway. I'm fine with that. No. Actually, I'd go. I'd live on the planet Zeltron.
Yeah. See,
I wonder why, Steve. I wonder why.
Yeah. See. There's two different strongholds I have in SWTOR for my characters, and the other one that I like a lot is Nar Shaddaa. So I'm like torn. I'd either want to live on Nar Shaddaa or a Yavin 4.
Yeah.
No, I'm absolutely picking the Zeltron planet, so I could be king of that planet.
Yeah, like she said. I wonder why.
I wonder why.
I'd have 3 wives. One would be called Clean, the other one would be called Cook, and the third one would be called Shag.
Oh God. Yeah, that'd be like saying if somebody asked you a Star Trek question, Steve, you'd be like, "Yeah, I want to live on Risa."
I don't know Star Trek that well, but
Risa was that resort planet where all the chicks were very giving, if
excellent.
You will. Hello, Lady Tariel.
Okay, so those who are joining, please, and those are here, if you haven't done it yet, please press that like button and, get this out on Twitter. Tell people to come join us. We're having such a great conversation here with exploring the galaxy. We're getting into the Old Republic now. Yeah. So, and those who are joining, let me know what's in your mug. What are you drinking today as you join us for coffee chat? Yes.
If you have alcohol in it, it would be a mug shot.
A mug shot.
Yep.
So, how many planets are snow planets? We have Hoth.
Oh, there was another one. Red Bar.
Yeah. This is very interesting. I do have my atlas here. I'm gonna.
Yeah, and a lot of planets did have winters, I guess, but
Yeah.
that's purely frozen. I think that's
Yeah, Hoth, Red Bar. Oh shit.
cold Relia.
Cold Relia.
Wasn't Telos?
Telos was
Telos
no,
had different
it had
regions.
it had yeah. You go to the what was it, Echani?
Yeah, Luke said Elam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elam, yeah, Elam is a planet too. Dad, we were just talking about Elam too just a few minutes ago. Yeah.
Elam, my favorite place to do PvP back in the day.
Yeah. Hoth, Elam, Renvar. God, I'm looking at Honagar right now. Man, that they just got tore up.
Star Killer Base.
Star, you know what? In the lore, you know what planet are in the Disney lore? You know what planet Starkiller was made off of, or that they used for Starkiller base?
No.
Elam. That's a fact. They used Elam.
So they motorized Elam.
Yes, they did.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a crystal planet where Jedi got their crystals, they just use that planet. I was looking up because someone brought it up, and I'm like, hey, they can't have used that planet, and yes, they did. Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah, so they went and took an original planet and used it as a base, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
wow.
we have Chisella basically has glaciers and caves. So Chisella from the Chis planet, basically, yeah. So
which is why they're blue, because it's so cold.
Yeah.
And because they adapted and their eyes turn red to adapt with the climate and stuff like that as well. And their skin color, from the type of food and stuff they ate. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, so that's what happened is that Disney took that planet and turned it into a base. So
yeah, the much loved Starkiller Base.
Like I said, bigger and better. They wanted to do it bigger and better. Yeah. Go ahead and remove this.
Good luck with that, Disney.
All right, let me get back on camera here. All right. So
bigger isn't better, though. I've been told that.
Oh, I'm not saying nothing.
The motion of the ocean.
Oh Lord. Okay. All right. So I asked the gentleman here before we came on to share a few characters that they really love from the Old Republic and why. Maybe share some background for everybody in the chat. So I asked them individually, so they might end up coming up with the same people, maybe not. So we'll start with Stieg, and then you'll share, and then Drew, you'll share.
Okay. How about I do one and then he does one?
That's fine. Go back and forth like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm a sport like that.
You're a sport. You're such a good sport.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Take it away, Steve.
Bastila Shan.
Damn you.
She is awesome. She's the first Jedi you recruit in the first KOTOR game. I'm a huge fan of the voice actress, Jennifer Hale, who has been in almost every BioWare game, actually.
Yes, she has.
She did several voices in Baldur's Gate 2. One of them was a hooker, and then a halfling paladin, which was my favorite character. And she also voiced the female shepherd in the Mass Effect trilogy. A very talented lady. And Bastila, I thought she's a bit snobbish and all that, but I like that in the Jedi. She was awesome, and she was integral to the story.
Yeah, she really was. And don't forget, Stieg, as you played through the first game, she did begin to loosen up as well. She kind of, once you got to know her and really get to know her character, she started to loosen up some.
Yeah, and she had a really badass moment when she was facing Malak.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So since you guys kind of have agreement with that one, Drew, who is your favorite, or one of your favorites?
Well, I think we can talk about, he took Bastila, so I'll take Bastila's descendant, and we will go a little bit forward from KOTOR and KOTOR 2, and we'll move a little bit forward into the Star Wars The Old Republic universe, and that is Satele Shan. Now, in SWTOR, she is the Grand Master, or are we supposed to say Grand Mistress, of the Jedi Order. And, she has some very pivotal moments, and she does grow within the story as you go through with your created character. You can see her growth, especially when you move on to the later expansions, and you can see as Satele goes, and this is through a combination of the little storied trailers that they have, and then playing through the actual game. You can see her growth from Grandmaster of the Jedi Order to, when she is clearly in the middle of the war and fighting Darth Malgus, and then when she moves on into where she is a Force ghost essentially, and she is at peace. And actually, I thought it was fascinating that when you get to Knights of the Eternal Throne and things like that into the later expansions, Satele is guiding you along, but she's also working with Darth Mar, who has also become a Force ghost. And I thought, she was a really, really wise and fascinating character. And there was an interesting aspect to it, because one thing I noticed that I really enjoyed about both the Knights of the Old Republic games and then on to the MMO with SWTOR was, the Jedi of old seemed to be, okay, at least to a large degree, of Jedis having families. And, we see that Satele does in fact have a family, as she she didn't get married, but she had a baby with a Republic trooper, very storied Republic commander named Jace Malcolm. And of course they had a very pivotal companion that your player character runs into in the later expansions, and that is their son. So yeah, I thought that Satele's character was very very pivotal in the Star Wars: The Old Republic lore. And she also casts a big shadow in the universe, and she contributes a lot to the history of the Jedi Order. And there's actually a companion book that comes with I have the collector's edition that I bought way back when of the game, and there's actually a companion book that comes with it that is written by one of the Jedis. It's like a chronicle that covers, the events before SWTOR and into SWTOR, and I thought that was done very well. And there's a lot about Satele in that book as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I really enjoy her as a character.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I know that both of them, when you look at, and me and Stig were talking about descendants before we came on, and that's what made Star Wars great, is that we seen descendants, of great characters come about in the lore, whether their mission, whether they contribute to the galaxy, or they're dark or light or whatever. And so I think it's very interesting to see how well established the world building was during the time.
Yeah, if you just go from what Stig said, from Bastila on to Satele, just the Sean family legacy between those ladies, and don't forget Bastila and Revan, were together. So, I mean, it's very fascinating.
Yeah. All right, Stig. So, who is your second favorite, or who is your next favorite?
Well, this is, I guess, a classic one. HK-47.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the assassin droid. He is all personality. It's awesome. He's grim. He's dark.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of dark humor and stuff like that. He is. I think if someone mentions KOTOR 1 and tells people to name a character, I think 8 out of 10 will automatically think of HK-47.
Yeah.
Because that was the one that stood out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, great fun. Used to be Revan's assassin droid. I think we learn in the game as well. Revan's personal droid. He's just fun.
Yeah.
Not all characters have to be deep,
Yeah.
HK-47 brought some needed comic relief to a story that's pretty much the first game is more like a dark mystery kind of story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like really dark. It's just feels like a New Hope, I guess, but a bit darker. Yeah, and he was needed, and he did exactly what the character was needed to do in the story, and yeah.
Okay.
As a character, he's a 10 out of 10.
Nice. And that's you don't weigh things out 10 out of 10s very lightly either.
Yeah, and he's originally a protocol droid.
Yeah.
That have been programmed to be assassins, something like that. So basically evil 3PO, and you have like a little R2 thing as well.
Yeah. And I think I did like there are like modified protocol droids, and I remember did a video on that. I didn't use HK-47. I should have, but basically, those type of droids did get reprogrammed because they look so innocent because of their what they're made for as protocol, and then bam, you have this droid kind of thing. So I think that was brilliant as well.
Yeah. Drew, I actually spotted a KOTOR reference in the Legacy comics.
Okay.
Yeah. Cade Skywalker and the others are traveling with early on they're traveling with some priests and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is called Missionary Veo. It's a descendant descendant of Mission Veo.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you think that Rogue One's droid, what's his name, K2SO or whatever his name is, do you think that they were trying to kind of mirror him off HK-47 in a sense?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Just a little bit, but it was like a cross between HK-47 and the droid from the Call Katarn games, which he
Yeah.
looked almost identical to.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Because I see the similarities there when you look at that, and we know, and they're like, oh, well, we like this about Legends, our, original lore. Let's go ahead and just kind of add it here.
Yeah, and then,
Sure.
let's give Call Katarn's role to a woman and rename Jan Or's Jin Urso and whitewash her. Nobody will notice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, everyone noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just thought I'd throw that out. All right, Drew, it's your turn. So who is your second pick, our favorite, or whatever you want to call that?
Well, I'll go with the really obvious one here, and that is going back to the patriarch of the Shan family, and that is Darth Revan. And you can, and he's also, you can refer to Revan as just Revan because he's also Jedi Master Revan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Revan is arguably one of the most influential characters in all of Star Wars because of his legacy. And, there's countless videos out there where people have gone through and, analyzed and looked at Revan and just what his power level was and the whole 9 yards. But Revan is unique in the sense that he was that Force user that walked the path. He tried both paths, and he was able to unite the dark side and light side of the Force within himself and reconcile that to where, with lesser people, they would have gone mad or worse. He was able to reconcile that within himself. And he was also unique in the fact that he could use both light side and dark side power. So he was a very powerful Force user, given the fact that, he had definitely attained those ranks in both the Sith and the Jedi Order. So, Revan was unique in that sense. He really was. I don't think that there will come along quite another character that made the splash that Revan did.
Yeah.
Because he saved the galaxy as a Jedi, and I mean, it's just a great story. He caused absolute carnage during the Mandalore Wars as a Sith, and then saves the galaxy as a Jedi. So I mean, that is the ultimate story to be able to tell. Great hero's journey and redemption arc, and Revan to me is so fascinating because they successfully took him from KOTOR 1, had a ton of references to him in KOTOR 2, and then you get to experience a lot of content in SWOTOR where, you get to interact and ultimately face Revan at some points in that game. So it's very that's very neat. And as Luke Skywalker says in the chat, Revan is canon now. They kept him, so that's good.
Which is
No, they didn't
work.
keep him. They basically just named an army after him in namesake only.
Yeah. Well,
even if they did make him canon, it wouldn't work because now they only had hyperspace travel for 200 years.
Yeah.
So the old Republic won't work.
It's very out of place if they bring him back physically. So that would be very out of place because they don't have the same type of timeline to even honor him as the character we know and love.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be weird because I know there's so many rumors floating around about the Old Republic trilogy and everything else, and we're gonna see if that actually comes to fruition. I agree with you guys. I think that they have to make changes to the map in the lore and everything else and really sort that out if they're going to at some point do an Old Republic trilogy, because this has to be sorted out.
I'm gonna say that be careful what you wish for, because so far everything they've reintroduced, including OT characters, they've completely destroyed.
Man, the ship has sailed on it, Steve, but boy, I used to say, man, if there would have ever been a KOTOR movie, I wanted Elizabeth Hurley to play Bastila.
Oh.
Yeah. Back then it would have, well, she's too old now.
Yeah, but back then it would have worked.
Do you have an idea for someone now?
Well, even Kate Beckinsale, who I think would be another one that would make a great Bastila. She is a little on the older side, but God, she.
I have one, Bob.
What's that?
Have you watched The Witcher?
Yes. I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The lady who played Renfrey.
Yes. Yes. He would be.
Holy shit! She could do action scenes.
And she resembles her.
Yeah,
she resembles her.
And she's English.
Yeah, yeah. Here's that too. Hey, Abu Nas, what's up, buddy?
Hello.
I was on the road earlier too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like this whole Revan thing and saying, oh well, now he's going to be brought back in. I think that they just named him in the army to nods of him in the Legends original lore, because he is a very popular character. His Luke Skywalker said that his saber came out as to purchase and stuff, as merch to purchase and stuff, but they're banking on nostalgia again. I'm gonna go there. They're banking on such a popular character to promote the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, well, there's one thing I bringing up Revan that I wanted to ask you about, Alora, and that was the fact that and this is a problem that Revan's character caused with, and that is there's so many people that decided because Revan per se was able to successfully use both light and dark side abilities.
Yeah.
Without any detriment to himself. Well, all of a sudden, you had a good portion of people that said, well, that means that there can be gray Jedi. And then somebody came up with that goofy gray Jedi code, and they started the whole well, you could just have a Jedi that is the best of both worlds. It can use some dark side powers, but use some light side powers. It's like, no.
It's a mess.
There was no point at all where Revan said, well, I'm going to start my own gray Jedi order. There was never anything like that happened. So I don't know where along the way that these people pulled this out of their ass.
I know where it came from.
Okay.
It came from gamers of Knights of the Old Republic, because they were creating a character that they called Gray, because they would focus 50-50 on dark side and light side.
Okay.
And they just called the character build a Gray Jedi. They did the same with Jedi Academy, actually. So it's just a gamer's term.
Yeah, but when they tried to come up with this crazy code and try to justify it in lore sense, it doesn't make any sense at all.
No, and I've seen people try to explain it away, because in one of the comics, someone says that Qui-Gon is a bit of a gray Jedi.
No, he's not.
It has nothing to do with the Force. They're calling him gray because of his political stance, because he's not completely in tune with the Jedi Council and how they operate. So he's gray in that sense. It has nothing to do with the Force.
And there's always the exception to the rule. That's Revan, but we know that when he went dark, he still sacrificed a lot of things. That's what happens when you go dark, and it was detrimental to him. But he went back to the light, so that shows that there is redemption. That redemption can happen, which sets up Luke's arc of redeeming Vader. So there's always the exception to the rule, but it's not the rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know that was just the thing that had always bugged me because you know, and you've spoken on this many times, Laura, where it's like they're not gray Jedi, they're Force users. They're going to be Force users that use whatever ability they want, but that doesn't make them, you know, any sort of Jedi or any sort of Sith. They're Force users, that they're just able to use multiple abilities.
Yeah, and then how you use it will determine if you're harnessing the dark or the light. But there's no middle ground, and even in life, there's no middle ground. Either you choose to do things respectfully in a respectful manner, and that's, you know, with compassion and kindness and thinking of others, or you will do things that are selfish that will hurt us. There's no gray area. There's no like, oh, well, I'm going to go do drugs here, but I'm still going to be this awesome family member, blah, blah. No, the thing is that, you know, you make those decisions and that bad decisions and whatever. And even, you know, we can go into personalities and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. You know, your choices will determine how your family and how the world, you know, benefits from those choices. It goes down from even the very yourself benefiting from it, then your family, and it starts to, you know, be a catalyst with your choices. And that's what the dark side versus the light side is. It's like your choices, how you're going to use those responsibilities.
Well, I will give you credit because you know, prior to us having that conversation months and months ago, it's funny because I may have sort of kind of been one of those like gray Jedi people at first, where I was like, oh, the gray Jedi code is cool and this and that. And then when we actually talked logic about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is stupid nonsense.
And then you all lost.
So you did set me straight, and you know, big like hearts and hugs and kisses to you for doing so. So that's all good.
And even in the Jedi versus the Sith, you know, companion, where it has, you know, the information about the Force, when you look up all the Force societies and all the Force abilities, gray Jedi is not even a Force ability or not a Force society. So, and then when you look at like the Path of the Jedi, they do mention gray Jedi, but they say the so-called gray Jedi. So that, which means that it's not really a society or anything like that. It's just something that was coined to explain someone's attitude, but that's it. It doesn't mean that, you know, they were in the middle, you know, using Force abilities or anything like that. It's just the so-called. So
it's just fan fiction created by games.
Yeah, I know. I swear, the next time I see somebody post like some kind of picture that has that stupid gray Jedi code on it, I'm just
tell them to fuck off.
Because you guys have seen that, right?
I'm well versed in that, and I've spoken up when they were for a reason when that was like trending a while back on Twitter. Star Wars people, I'm like, really? There's no such thing, because then, you know, then it doesn't even make sense to prequel trilogy, really. You know, and there is no such thing as one thing that they were saying is like, oh, well, you remember the Jedi before they split into faction? I go, just because they were the Jedi and they weren't split up into dark versus light, they weren't a gray order either.
Yeah,
how does that make them a gray order?
It actually goes completely against everything George has said about the Force.
Yes.
Yeah.
Abu's right. Politics don't have anything to do with the Force.
Yeah. A gray Jedi is a robe in the game and its color. That's it. You got that right.
Yes.
They even said that Luke Skywalker was a gray Jedi, and so was Yoda too. That was part of like what they were saying, because Luke did use some, you know, like dark force abilities. But when you look at Luke's history, when he's figuring out everything about the Jedi and himself, he didn't have the formal training that Jedi had in the past to really understand, you know, what force abilities he was using until he started exploring more about the force and getting archives and all that after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't make him gray. It just means that he's learning and that he's learning. And he also recognized that he was going dark or going towards the dark. And so he stepped back from it. So that's not a gray action or a so-called gray action.
Actually, I know what a gray Jedi is.
What is that, Steve?
It's just an old one. Gray hair.
There you go.
Skywalker.
Yeah, it's Alec Guinness.
Well, I would say, I went the opposite way, but yeah. I wouldn't compare Alex Guinness to, you know, Jake Skywalker though either.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So okay, I'll answer this question for you, Lord Vader. So over at Bounding Into Comics, like some of the stuff we've come across, there's some heavy rumors that that could be the case. But again, like most of the stuff that we've encountered is rumor so far. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's been tossed around that they've definitely discussed it internally about going that way, but I don't know if that's going to happen. You know, we'll wait and see. There's a lot of things, as we've pointed out during this stream, that have to be sorted out lore-wise and location-wise, just details. Mm-hmm. Before they can even think about doing something like that.
You know,
go ahead, Steve.
KOTOR won't even make sense because in KOTOR, you find lightsaber crystals, right? And in the new lore, it's basically the color changes based on the feelings of the Jedi.
Yeah, well, the only way this will make sense is if that rumor that we posted the other day, and you guys can go to Bounding Into Comics if you want to read about it, the latest rumors from Doomcock. If there's indeed a plan to retcon the sequel trilogy, then yes, it definitely has the Old Republic has a chance of happening.
Well,
go ahead, Stig, and then I'll say
they're planning on retconning using the veil.
Yeah.
Which means even if they do that, hyperspace ramming is still a possibility in Star Wars, which means if they do the older, Knights of the Old Republic 1 as a movie or trilogy, when they attack the Starforge, all they have to do is hyperspace ram it to win.
And the thing is if it,
well, I don't know. Can that happen if Bastila at the time, Bastila in that particular moment?
Yeah, sure.
There was a point where she was using her battle meditation, and she was, dark at that point in time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
That just affects her allies, making them fight better as a unit.
And then I'm going to go back with the time frame. So when you look into the lore, so if they only retcon or get away from the sequel trilogy, but keep everything else, including the timeline, hyperspace was invented like 1,000 years before, I think, the prequel trilogy or maybe A New Hope. So one of those two pivotal points in the movie era. And so the Old Republic doesn't fit in there.
Mm-hmm. I'll be right back. I get right to the
wars and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then so Orange Hat. If anything, Qui-Gon was a true Jedi, more so than the Jedi Council. I kind of disagree with that as well. Being a true Jedi, I think everybody, in a sense, was a Jedi. Just because you don't agree with the council doesn't make you truer than who's on the council. He did study the life force, whereas there's like three different like factions of the force, and they all studied the force in its entirety. He he more so preferred the life force, which is the here and now. But when you look at the lore behind the force, like seers are basically, what part of the force was that? There's, like I said, there's 4 different factions of the force, and you have the seers, you have the ones that say, let's listen to the here and now. Then and then you have the physical use of the force. So everybody uses the physical use of the force. And then I forgot the 4th one, but so that's how I see Qui-Gon, is that he was just a Jedi, and he didn't agree with some of what the council had to say, and that's it. That's how I see him. He wasn't a truer Jedi, nor was versus the people on the council as well, because then you're saying that Master Yoda isn't a true Jedi, which he has like thousands of years, or like almost like 800 years or so experience over Qui-Gon.
Yeah, there's only one true Jedi. Only one, Obi-Wan.
Oh goodness. So I mean, we all have our different opinions about how Qui-Gon is and how he's perceived in the lore, and especially Attack or the Phantom Menace. And he uses the Force for his own means. When you look at him, influencing Anakin's freedom to take him to the council, when he threw the die, he basically used the Force, his Force abilities, to manipulate that die. So
yeah, he was really on a roll for a while.
he was really on a roll. So I mean, again, so I just want to just expand that. I don't think there was, if there's a term true Jedi, I think that's just too of a perfect term. Everybody, like individual Jedis had their flaws and their knowledge and their ability and how they use the Force, and not one was greater than the other than, maybe, like, I'm just going to go there. Like we have Anakin Skywalker, who was the chosen one, not saying that he was better than or whatever, because we all know he made huge mistakes, right?
Yeah, the chosen one thing doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Force powers. It just means that's the guy who has to do something.
Yeah.
Because his Force ability, when he destroys the Sith and tosses Palpatine down the shaft, has nothing to do with how he does it. He picks him up physically and tosses him down. There's no Force involved at all.
Yeah.
So his strength in the Force is just irrelevant. It just means he's rising through the Jedi ranks a bit, but it doesn't make him an expert on the Force. It doesn't make him a great teacher. It doesn't make him anything. Just he's the one who has to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The chosen one could have just as easily been a smuggler,
Yeah. Exactly.
So we have one more character left?
Yeah. So who's next, Steve?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Canderous Ordo.
Okay.
Nice pick.
Oh yeah, grim, gritty Mandalorian who's working as basically like a henchman when you first encounter him, and he's a companion for your main character all through the game. He'll tell you war stories. One of them involves the Yuuzhan Vong, actually. So there's a New Jedi Order reference, because he has seen a Yuuzhan Vong ship in the Outer Rim, and it flew away. So he doesn't know what it is. But that was a fun little eerie story he told. Later on in the second game, he has become the Mandalore. And you don't even see his face in that game, because he's fully covered in a hell of a battle armor. Actually, he looks awesome.
I love that armor, dude.
Yeah, it is.
That armor is one of the best armors I've ever seen.
And when you get to use, the basilisk with the Mandalorians, that's awesome. Really is. It's he's like the sort of guy, you just give him the biggest possible gun, and he'll do it. If he ever showed up in a movie or something, I would like Josh Brolin to play him, I think. Yeah, awesome character. a little bit of depth, I guess, but he's kind of a storyteller. He tells stories about the Mandalorians and really fleshes out the lore from that period, especially from the Mandalorian standpoint. And he has a lot to say about Malachor 5 and the war that happened before the game starts. So excellent character. Maybe not a character most people would use though in the game, because it really pays off to just have 3 Jedis, right? But yeah, rock solid. Fits the game and the story like a glove.
Okay. Awesome with that. Okay, so Drew, go ahead and share.
Well, I'm going to pivot here since Stieg took Bastila, and
She's
Stuck on that, Drew. You're like, since he took Bastila, how dare you?
Bastila is mine now. She belongs to me.
Well, that's all right. I got Satil, so I'm happy. But no, I will go to KOTOR 2 for this one, and I will go ahead and take Kreia because I thought Kreia was, oh my God, she was written so well, and she was fascinating. As you
would you agree if I say she's about as well written an antagonist as Palpatine?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Stig. The way that you see how she progresses through the game till your final encounter with her at the end of KOTOR 2, now she takes you as the exile, and she, is trying to restore your connection to the Force, but at the same time, she's also trying to impart wisdom and teach you lessons on how to be pragmatic. But she's also sewing in the things that the Sith do, which is she sews in, along with truth, some deception, and she's also sewing in misinformation along with truth as it pertains to your objectives, things like that. And it's very much a well-told tragedy when it comes to Kreia as a character, because when she reveals herself to be Darth Treya, I mean, wow. It's just it breaks your heart because you've been on such a journey with her. And most times, as the player, when you're playing with your exile through Knights of the Old Republic 2, very many times you'll have Kreia with you in your party because she is a really powerful Force user. So, I mean, it killed me the first time I remember playing through that game. Like, I'm like, no, Kreia, damn you, because I wanted to keep her around, but it's after a while, it's just not possible. But yeah, I mean, fascinating character.
Also, the voice actress is insanely good.
Oh God, dude! Oh my God, yes.
Oh, Laura, you should check the private chat. I left you something.
Uh-oh. Dun. Okay. Oh, okay. What's that? Oh, I'm scared. Okay, so you guys go still elaborate on Kreia. So with Kreia, what is his favorite quote or your favorite like philosophy from her, since we are I seen that, Stig. I seen that, and I didn't say nothing with that. But that character was not a full-on chicken, I tell you, and I'm sticking to my story. Poor
Who
Drew, like,
came?
what the hell are they talking about?
Who came first? The chicken or the egg? It was good.
Oh my god. So how long is that video of Korea that we were talking about? Do you know? Do you remember? Because it's been a while since I watched it. And I wonder if I would get in trouble if I share it on my live stream.
No, you probably won't get in trouble because people are doing let's plays of that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
You won't get in trouble.
Yeah, so if one of you guys want to find it, we could possibly play it. Here.
I like the philosophy she has on Nar Shaddaa. Yeah, because you help a guy and give him money because he's begging for money, and then later on he runs away and he gets robbed. And she says, since you elevated someone by giving them something they didn't earn, they became a target, and it's basically your fault.
I think my personal favorite is at one point, and I can't remember if it's on Korriban or somewhere else, where she tells you, if you truly want to be in control, then you want to be the one manipulating events. And she and she just lays it out in such a way where it's like, okay, that makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, you think about it, it's like, man, that it kind of feels evil because you're just manipulating shit all the time. But,
and isn't she describing Palpatine?
Yeah.
In those scenes, because it mirrors Palpatine to the letter, really.
Yeah. So within the Old Republic, because it goes from 5,000 ABY all the way to like 8 or 900 ABY. Are you guys like in the novels? If you guys read the novel, which is your favorite novel?
I've only read one, and that's the first Bane novel, which I thought was excellent.
Okay.
But I have read the Old Republic comics because I have all three of the omnibuses. They are awesome, by the way, and they tie into the video games a bit too. Because characters from the video games show up.
Okay.
And Revan and Malak are in it a little bit, and you actually get to see how Malak starts turning to the dark side. So if you don't have those, LG, then get them because they're really good.
All right. So Drew, with you, comics or novels that you have, because of KOTOR, you have gotten into, are the Old Republic for the Old Republic, basically. Do you have favorites or?
And I know there's a lot of people split on the book, but still, the novel I enjoy is the Revan novel, and there's going to be plenty of contention about it. I know some people like the book, some people hate the book, but I thought overall it was good. I really enjoyed, just some of the storytelling in that book when it came to, Revan caring about Bastila and his family, and it's just, it's sentimental to me, and the fact that Revan cares about the exile too. He cares about Mitra Surik, and he wants to, he doesn't want to leave her behind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that book is good. There's a lot of people that disagree. There's contention about it among the expanded universe fandom, but hey, I think that book's okay. I think it holds up.
Yeah, I know. I did posted like within the last couple of days about Revan, the novelization, and I did get some people like, that was so terrible, and I'm like, really, and so I agree that there is a mixed reaction with that, and right now I'm deciding if I should stay in the Old Republic and maybe go into the Revan novels. And and share that with the lore and stay within the Old Republic for a little while before I jump elsewhere on the timeline. So maybe I'll put in a like a little poll on Twitter, you guys, so you guys can help me decide, because I am done with Darth Bane trilogy. Drew, are you familiar with the Darth Bane trilogy?
I have a cursory knowledge of it from talking with people and whatnot, seeing a little bit of Bane, just a tiny bit touched on in the Clone Wars, but I haven't had a chance to read the books for myself. So,
do it. They're it as a trilogy. I'd say it's the best Star Wars novel trilogy.
Yeah.
So far, anyway, it's so well written.
So even over Thrawn's trilogy, I'm going to throw this out there, very controversial now, because you know how everybody feels about Thrawn trilogy.
It's better written than the Thrawn trilogy.
Okay.
Right. The Thrawn trilogy is more vital to the OT character story.
Yeah.
I guess it's a starting point where, if anyone wants to get into the EU, that's the starting point for everyone. Really, that's the perfect spot to start. But it introduces Thrawn and Mara Jade and all kinds of stuff. But as for solid writing skills, I guess the Bane trilogy is written better.
Yeah. Drew Carspasian really did a great job with that. And so we do know right now that the Darth Bane trilogy basically is I wouldn't say the ending to the Old Republic, but they're the last novels within the Old Republic before we get into the PT era. And so no one, basically said, oh, well, Darth Bane or Darth Zana. So Stig, I know you already have formed your opinion about Darth Zana, so why don't you just go ahead and share that?
Well, I don't know too much because she's still a girl in the books where I'm currently at, but maybe a little bit OP.
Okay.
She turns people to dust with the Force. I mean, come on, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
As a character and a person, though, she's awesome. But I mean, it's like some of the EU writers at some point were competing to make the most OP one.
Yeah.
I think whoever came up with Abeloth kind of won, because that was a bit,
Yeah.
it was so. She had so many powers per book. It was I mean, tone it down a little. I'm losing track.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, you already have kind of opinion. I can't wait till you finish this novel and get into the third one. I did do my lore review on the last novel. I posted it yesterday, so you guys go ahead and check it out. I did share some clips from the Audible on her and, just a portion of her and Darth Bane's last duel together and how she overcomes him. And so I believe that the trilogy is really well written. It gives us insight to what's really happening in the OT and especially the PT with the rule of two and how that came about. I think it's really a great, precursor to the PT when you look at the Sith coming back again, rising up,
Right.
And she also talks about like the revenge when she's explaining the rule of two after she defeats Bane and she gets her apprentice Darth Cognis. She basically tells her the rule of two is basically the revenge of the Sith. So that was a perfect tie-in. It just gave me chills thinking about that, because then you think about Palpatine, you think about Darth Plagueis, and all of them, before them that remained in hiding, during that hiatus, I guess you can say, to get where Palpatine is now.
So I have a question for all of us, really.
Okay.
Which EU book or comic would you say is objectively the best written one?
Oh, that is a very tough one. Oh my God, because they all lend something to the story. Even the worst ones do lend some things to the story. Even the worst ones is far better than the Disney trilogy.
I'm absolutely thinking it's the Kenobi book,
Yeah.
because that's it's not action heavy. It's psychological.
Yeah.
I really liked that one, and I thought it was a extremely well written book.
Yeah.
Even if it hadn't been Star Wars, it would still have been a great book.
Yeah. Oh, that
Because
guy. Go ahead.
Because you can easily set that story in the Old West if you want to.
Yeah. There's a lot of emotional weight with, thinking about what's to come and what's to come in between the PT and the OT. Because, a lot of people, like, if you're just going to, have like the casual moviegoers get into the EU and really explore like what happened between both eras or both films, trilogies and stuff like that, Kenobi is a great novel to get into that. And Kenobi is one of the most beloved characters as well.
I know. I get fan mail every day.
Huh?
I get fan mail every day.
You're like, I get fan mail every day. Yeah. Drew, so what do you think, from your knowledge, what do you think is the best, in your knowledge?
There's a book I had, God, it goes back to when I was a kid. Oh God, it was a Han Solo book, and it was the one at Star's End. I think it was what it was.
That one is awesome. It's like
that's a great book.
It's like, well, it doesn't necessarily feel like Star Wars became 20 years later, but it's an awesome retro-ish sci-fi adventure story. I guess
that's what I liked about that book.
Yeah, me too. It was awesome. It was almost like pulp, right?
Yeah, it's so hard to decide. I really like the novels in Legacy of the Force, and so it really is hard for me to decide, because you see a lot of turmoil and struggle. We get to see Luke at his best, at his I wouldn't say prime, but still we get to see. I don't know. I agree with Kenobi as well, the Kenobi novel, that it's a great like if you're going to recommend something in between the trilogies, that's one that, and even Rise of Darth Lord, or either Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader is another great one, but Kenobi I think is better than that one. I'm stuck on this one. I'm very much stuck on it. So yeah, Soul Assassin, the Kenobi book is most likely going to be the far better than what current Disney can do with the TV series they're planning. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of rumors going on about all these productions, and Drew basically expanded on one that could be Old Republic as well, and what could happen if they decide to just retcon the DT or the CT or ST, whatever, STDs. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. Well, anyways, so part of the rumor is like, oh, they're going to have Anakin in there, or they're going to have Vader in there. And that is, to me, treading on a lot of like shady, slippery slope ground when it comes to Kenobi's exile, because he's not supposed to have any interaction with Vader, because Vader, we when we see Vader and Kenobi in A New Hope, Vader is realizing that Kenobi survived.
Right.
So even if they bring Inquisitors to search for him and find him on Tatooine, that means Palpatine and Vader knows that Kenobi survived, because the Inquisitors, if they don't come back, they're going to investigate more, which compromises Luke, compromises Kenobi. Or if they fight and they get away, then they are going to know. And we know that Kenobi really can't leave the planet, if anything, as well.
Yeah,
so
and that Tarkin obviously believes that Kenobi is dead.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. So I have a lot of, and I did get in debate on Twitter about that and with some people. And then I realized, oh, well, they really have not read Kenobi. They really haven't read anything in the EU, like even Darth Lord, Rise of Darth Vader, because both Kenobi and Rise of Darth Vader, towards the end of the novels, they both, and even the Legends of Obi-Wan Kenobi, it goes into Kenobi finding out that Vader survived. He thought he left Anakin or Vader dead on Mustafar. He thought he left him dead. He thought that he died, and so he finds out through holocron and stuff like that, the holocron news, that there's a new underling of Palpatine, and his name is Darth Vader, and so Kenobi freaks out like, holy crap! I thought I left him on left him to die, and he knows that Vader is Anakin, and so
because he saw the recording when Palpatine said, "Rise, Lord Vader" or something.
Exactly. And so we have Kenobi in one of the novels talking with Qui-Gon saying, should I just take Luke and leave? And then also too, when he finds out he's in a tavern in and I think Anchorhead, having having a meal or whatever, drinking, having a drink or whatever, and he basically flips out and almost loses shit, like, oh shit, what am I gonna do, kind of deal. And so it's very interesting. And so I think that for them wanting to bring in Vader or even Anakin, and as for interaction kind of deal, I think it just messes up the whole lore behind why Kenobi is in exile.
Yep.
So,
right.
We also get in Kenobi novel, and Drew, if you haven't read that, I would suggest to pick it up. It's a great read. Yeah, it's not going to have the basic pew pew Star Wars space fights. It's not going to have that, but it's worth picking up and reading and learning about Kenobi in exile and what he has to do and how he struggles not to be a Jedi, how he interacts with the Sand People, how he finds out what really happened to Anakin in Attack of the Clones when he finds his mom. There's a lot of great points in there, a lot of great points.
And it has a badass thing though with Kenobi versus a Great Dragon.
Yeah.
Good old knight versus dragon thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then he basically is like, oh shit, I just like revealed myself as a Jedi. So I mean, I'm not going to spoil any plot lines to this or any story to that other than what we shared is like worth picking up and reading, And so I would suggest, and anybody who in the chat who has not read Kenobi, I would pick it up now to read. And even the Audible is unabridged, so that means it's the full novel.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing that I would love to see, Alora, is for you to, you hear Stig and I talk so much about Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. I would love to see you experience that because the story in it is so worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna drool, Alora. You're gonna drool.
Yeah. I imagine I am. I do have the KOTOR on my laptop. I just need to begin playing it. So, and I was also thinking, well, should I? And I'm not going to get on Twitch. I'm not going to do that. I can't. My life is, I can't even do 2 platforms for my channel. I can't. So if I ever live stream it, once I get familiar with it and stuff, and I feel confident like playing it,
do a let's play on here.
Yeah, and I will show that so you guys can see like my experience, like, oh shit, this is friggin', like my whole excitement over it. Yeah, and then there's other games I want to get into that I know that help expand the lore, that I know that there's novels that were based, tie in with the games and stuff. And and I was talking with Matt Wilkins too, and he's not versed in the games as well. So, so I feel kind of better.
I can honestly say to this day, even if I were to pick up and play the original Knights of the Old Republic again, to me, I have a connection to that game because it was the most visceral and emotional experience I had playing a video game ever.
Yeah.
and that's not a very light thing to say, especially when you're, a gamer that's gamed all their lives.
Yeah.
I have nothing but high praise for.
You probably played it though, but the only game that actually comes close is the first Dragon Age game.
Yeah,
It is made by the same people.
Mhm.
It's basically KOTOR in a very, very gritty, dark fantasy world.
Mhm.
All right. So Soul Assassin says, ever notice that Kenobi lives in a house that is on high ground of the desert planet? Pretty much a Vader-proof hideout.
Lol.
And there is a clip, when you watch Return of the Jedi, and where he Luke overcomes Vader a little bit and kicks him down the steps, and then Kenobi looks up at him while Luke's standing up above the steps, and he goes, "Kenobi's taught you well," kind of deal. And that reminds me of like the high ground thing too, as well.
That's actually a spoiler though. When Disney releases the High Ground Republic, the Sith won't have any chance.
Oh Lord. Oh, because Avar Kriss, because she's the best Jedi ever.
Oh yeah, and she has the High Ground Republic.
Yeah, she's even better than Kenobi. I mean, not Kenobi, Yoda, because he's alive during that time. He's alive during that time, and I think he's a master during that time too. If you look into the lore behind his lore, I believe he's a master.
Oh yeah,
he excels to master quickly.
Yes, yeah, because he said he'd been teaching Jedi for 800 years.
Nonsense. I
mean, he's been a master.
I say Ray Palpatine could take out Avar Kriss.
Oh yeah, because Ray can just download her powers, and then.
Yeah.
Plus, if Ray gets in trouble, the opponent's weapon will just vanish.
Yeah. All right. So we're coming up on 11. So I have one more question for you two here. We know that towards the end of the Old Republic, we get the new Sith Order, which is the Rule of Two. So, which goes into the Darth Bane trilogy. So, I'm pretty sure this is like an easy, like stupid question maybe or whatever, but what do you think about that? What do you think? Do you think that it's brilliant behind it? Do you think that they could have expanded on a little bit more? Do you think that we should have, after Darth Bane, we should have got more a little bit into like how through the century or how through the time period the Sith evolved even with the Rule of Two? So you guys can just expand on that a little bit more because we know where it's into.
What was the question? I'm going to be honest. I was thinking about something else.
Okay, thinking about
I drifted off.
Yeah. All right. So your opinion about the Rule of Two, and do you think that you could have been fleshed out a little bit more with some more stories after Darth Bane, or because we know where it ties to. We already know, and it ties to the PT and all that. And do you think that that was a good move of the Sith?
Yeah, I think so. It brought somewhat of a little bit more order, at least in my opinion. Even in Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Rule of Two is alive and well because there's a Dark Council, and then of course most of those Darths on the Dark Council all have apprentices.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the Brotherhood of the Sith or whatever it's called. Before that one faction before the Rule of Two, before Bane created the Rule of Two. Yeah.
No, this is just straight up the Dark Council.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But there's they allude to it even in Star Wars: The Old Republic. So yeah, I think that the Rule of Two was actually a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, when you have a chance, pick up the Darth Bane trilogy because it talks about it expands more on the Brotherhood of Darkness as well, their council, and how they trained their Sith, where there's different, like just like the Jedi order, you have factions, you have the counselor, you have the counselors and all that. There was those factions within the Sith as well, and only the most gifted Sith were taken to Korriban, and I believe there's another planet as well, to become a lord, to train to become a lord, and not everybody made it through the training, and that's where Darth Bane was taken because of his ability. And but if you weren't that strong, then you were taken to another faction and being trained as part of the army as well. And
I'm kind of torn on the rule of two though.
yeah, okay,
Because the apprentice has to kill the master, right?
yeah,
So there's an extreme risk if both are very powerful that they kill each other.
there you go. And
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to get into is a little bit more. Is like, is it flawed still?
Well, that's what the downfall of the Sith was.
Yeah.
Because they got Anakin killed Palpatine and then he died, ending the Sith, destroying them,
Yeah.
as the prophecy said.
Mhm.
So that's a huge flaw in that, way of life, I guess. But that one should have been. I mean, Bane should have kind of foreseen that though, because he was planning the whole thing, and the chance of two Sith fighting, two really powerful ones fighting,
Mhm.
could end in a draw, right?
Yeah.
And both of them killing each
Yeah.
other. So I always, while the power level will increase fast when it comes to this, because
Yeah.
they're always learning from the one who was better than the previous one.
Yeah, and then the
So
one the master is always not giving all the information as well, as we've seen in Darth Bane, when Zana realizes that when they were fighting and they're dueling, that she realized that he was holding back some stuff. So I thought that was interesting. Go ahead, go on.
Yeah, it's well, what I'm saying is that it's on the surface, it's very, very brilliant.
Yeah.
But then you have that major risk of both dying. Which,
Yeah.
to be fair, it is an obvious one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's either one guy wins or the other one.
Yeah.
Or it's a draw.
Yeah.
There's really just three options.
Yeah, and Bane really didn't prepare for the draw, because look what happens. There was a draw at the end of Return of the Jedi, where the chosen one basically fulfills his destiny and becomes redeemed, saves his son, and saves the galaxy by destroying the Sith. So yeah, so that's a great point, and it shows how great the world building is in the original lore, because not even the Sith were bulletproof, even with the rule of two.
To be devil's advocate here, though,
Okay.
The Legends lore really only became great around the New Jedi Order and onwards, because that's when they really cranked up the continuity efforts and all that. Before that, in the 90s, there was a lot of strange stuff and some contradictions, and Dark Empire aside, because that one's you can forgive that one because the prequel trilogy wasn't out yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of other things I've noticed when I've been reading the older books. They could have done better with it, I guess, with the continuity and the lore. But like I said, after the New Jedi Order came out, and everything after that was rock solid.
Yeah.
So that's when the EU became as good as it could be, really.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm saying is that it's almost like there's two EUs in a way. Actually, three, because of the old Marvel stuff, and the stuff in the 80s, because that was just one-time stories.
You're just mapping out how they were starting to realize that we need to straighten this crap out, and so little by little, from the 80s into the 90s, they started straightening out the continuity and trying to retcon the minor things and just leaving the little tiny small minor things alone, which some people like anti-EU people will use, but basically it doesn't really do any damage to the lore, other than you're like, oh yeah, we see this hiccup here because they're still expanding. They really didn't have the full reins of continuity established yet.
Yeah,
they
they
got
didn't
the
have
line.
they didn't even have a team working on it back then.
Exactly. Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
If you read the old Marvel comics and even the old Han Solo books and stuff like that from the 80s, it's basically just standalone stories.
Yeah, and that's why like some of those earlier Marvel comics are put in S canon, and that's why we see S canon, because of that. Because once they got the lore straightened out and they started, really being rigid about the continuity and stuff like that, a lot of things were shifted to either S canon or infinities or whatever.
Yeah, and even if the old Marvel stories, the old comics don't fit well, except for Lumaya being brought into the to the rest of the canon. They're still insanely entertaining because they're so retro.
Yeah.
So they kind of feel like episode 4 if there was nothing else, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I agree. And they're still great reads. They're far better reads, even though now that, we know that they're kind of like quasi kind of canon where they fit, but they don't, but they still make sense, but they don't kind of deal. And, Stig, you just like shared the evolution of, the EU and how they were building the foundation to make sure the continuity was well done.
Because actually in the 90s there was nothing called EU.
Yeah.
The EU became a thing in the 2000s.
Yeah, exactly.
Then they just implemented the stuff that came before.
Yep.
So when people bash, I don't know, the Jedi Academy series is bad because it doesn't fit, and that's EU. That means the EU is bad, and no, it was written before the EU was a thing.
Yeah.
10 years before almost.
And they were still somewhat coherent. There was still a lot of coherency and continuity still established within it. So even though they weren't really tracking it as much, or they were starting to establish it, there was still a lot of people paying attention, authors paying attention to the lore and talking with each other and establishing, stories that were coherent, that made sense between each other.
Yeah, and at one point before there was an EU in the 90s, you had a couple of authors almost competing on who gets to create Luke's girlfriend.
Yeah.
That was a thing because all kinds of love interests were popping up, for a while. I mean, you had the Ghost Lady and a couple of others, but it ended with Mara Jade, though, thankfully.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, you guys, so we're past 11 now. So we've been on for 2 hours, and I would like to thank every single one of you guys that are here in the chat who participated in the conversation and shared with us, and these two fine gentlemen here for being my guest and talking about Old Republic, particularly a lot of the game lore behind it. Again, I'm not well versed in that. So
I have a request for a future stream.
Okay.
Where we talk about the Call of Cthulhu games.
Okay, sure. And then we can bring in Dark Forces. So we could do that because I'm versed with the story too, but not the game. So that would be great conversation right there. Some game talk with Star Wars.
And we visit so many planets in those games. It's awesome.
Yes. Okay, well then you hear that, chat. We'll have that coming up here soon. I haven't decided what lore I'm going to cover, which era of Star Wars I'm going to cover next since I'm done with Darth Bane. I don't know if I'm going to stay in the Old Republic or maybe jump ahead. So maybe I'll put that, like a little voting panel poll thing on Twitter. So yes. So go ahead and Stig, go ahead and tell us where we can find you at.
Usually here or on Christie's channel or Sporking's channel.
Okay.
On Christie's channels, we do every Saturday, we do a top 10 movie from a certain year. Yeah. And this Saturday we'll be doing 1989. So that's going to be awesome. It's me and Tom from Midnight's Edge and Culture Casino and a few others. And then I do Game of Thrones book talks on Mondays and Wednesdays on Sporking's channel. Other than that, I'm just a guy from Norway who likes to talk nerdy with people, and it tends to happen on YouTube. So it's just Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Nothing fancy.
He's like, nothing fancy, nothing whatsoever. All right, Drew. So where can we find you at? Go ahead and plug in your channel and all your information.
Well, I just want to say, Steve, you are even more than what you said you are. You are a fantastic friend. So thank you. But no, I am Drew, aka Supreme Heretic. You can read me on a website called boundingintocomics.com. I am a writer for Bounding Into Comics. You can also find me here on YouTube. I am one sub away from 300. So, hit that sub button on my channel. I will be so grateful. And tonight, later, in about 7 hours, you can catch the Pegasus Actual podcast, where I take off the Star Wars hat and we put on our Battlestar Galactica hats. And tonight we are reviewing an episode called Black Market, which is episode 14 of season 2. It's going to be really awesome. I've got an all-star panel tonight with me. I've got myself, author Stephen Walton, Nerd Cookies, Jane Theory. We've got Culture Casino. Oh, good God. We've got Script Doctor, PhD. So, if anything, you're missing out if you don't make it to the Pegasus Actual podcast tonight. So make sure that you catch that. And then, of course, besides that, I'm usually around on different streams. You'll see me on different panels, and that's just how it is. So, follow me on Twitter at Supreme Heretic. You want to keep up with what I'm doing. And thank you guys for being a wonderful chat. Without you, there is no us. And thank you for your support.
All right. Thank you so much. And you guys, you can find me live stream on my channel tonight. I am hosting Queen's Council. So go ahead and come back to my channel for some fun. It's just all about laughing. We're just going to have some good time looking at some things on the internet regarding like traveling, airports, and, bloopers and all that, just to kind of, break this era of like stress and negativity that we've been going through lately with this quarantine or shelter.
I am an honorary queen last week.
He's like, I'm an honorary queen. And so you can, come back later on. I think it's at 6. I'm hosting. I should know the friggin' time, but I 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I think if I got that wrong, the queens will let me know. And so that's going on tonight. And then Friday I will be on, or tomorrow I'll be on Orange Hat Reviews channel, where we are going to do a versus again, and it's Jaina versus, and I forgot who she's Orange Hat. If you're still here, plug it in there, because I forgot exactly who we're versing. We're putting Jaina against, and I apologize. I have so much stuff going on. So that is going to be on Orange Hat Review. And again, you can look out for my lore reviews. I do have one video out that has the Rise of Skywalker versus Legends and all the things that they, copied, so it's compare and contrast with that. And another video is going to come up today regarding George Lucas's involvement with the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, including Labyrinth of Evil and Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader. So that's going to be an interesting fun fact, since, a lot of people say George didn't really get involved with the EU, or he hated the EU. And so providing that evidence is
he actually got the idea for Maul's lightsaber from Exar Kun as well.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. And so I'll have a new video coming out. And of course, the coffee chats here Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Toxic Femininity on Midnight Edge After Dark. And then the Queen's Council, as I said, and Babe de Menace once a month. So I'm just about everywhere too as well. And you can find me on Twitter. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys that come in every Thursday to join in on our coffee chats.